you take me high, staring deep into your eyes. You caught me by surprise, 'cause I'm a heathen in a sleepless life. Feelings never seem to smile. You're leaving, won't you stay the night? I'm falling for you. Oh, I'm hoping you feel for me what I've been feeling for you. And if it's so clear to see, I'm on my knees, so I'm begging for you. Heaven, won't you take me high, staring deep into your eyes. You caught me by surprise, 'cause I'm a heathen in a sleepless life. Feelings never seem to smile. You're leaving, won't you stay the night? I'm falling for you. Oh, I'm hoping you feel for me what I've been feeling for you. And if it's so clear to see, I'm on my knees, so I'm begging for you. You're the ghost in my nightmares. I see your face when I drink. You know I'd be down bad if he wasn't next to me. Long drives with the roof off, and those were the days. How you gonna break my
Good
heart?
evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Neutral News Network. I am Brian, along with Zach and Jake, and we are happy to be back after last week. We had some things that came up. One of them is, and I'm just going to give everybody a very um, quick summary. Cook your beans properly. That's all I'm going to say. Look it up, cook them properly, don't die. Anyways, all right, so we've got some interesting news today. In other words, everything just decided to happen within the course of the last 24 hours, which just led to our title here of Does Anybody Know What's Going On Anymore? Because realistically, there's just a lot going on in the world that you might not know about. And we're here to, come on and talk to you about that and give you a little bit of taste of just the world as it is right now. So we'll go ahead and crack into it, and we'll go ahead and start talking about the top U.S. economy news, which definitely a little bit slower on the economic news, or not a huge. Let me just be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the articles that are on ground news today, but that happens. It's not going to be perfect all the time, but we'll go ahead and cover those three regardless. So starting off with the first one, American Eagle stock soars 20% as it says Sydney Sweeney campaign is its best advertising campaign to date. Um, Obviously, that was a huge controversial ad that came out with some people on the left thinking that Sydney Sweeney was directly making a um, jeans related comment. That's jeans with a G and not jeans with a J. Um, and that was obviously not very popular with individuals on the left, and they kind of thought that it might have been a bit of a racist ad, and maybe typically like more of a anti-Semitic ad, things of that nature.
I have
Obviously,
not
that
heard
was all
that, but
denied. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it was a huge controversial thing for
mm,
a bit, but
I
obviously it
thought
seems to have done well. So
I just thought it was a typical jeans commercial.
yeah, well, they were
What's
really
the next
leaning
thing?
into the jeans thing, if you get what I mean. Like that was the big,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. Um, but yeah, so that's that. I mean, honestly, not a huge, big thing going on in regards with that. It's just American Eagle stock just kind of blew up after the earnings report came out, and it was a raving success. They beat earnings. I'm pretty sure they beat the earnings per share as well. So the stock obviously jumped after that. Next, Carney says he spoke to Trump on Monday, but doesn't expect tariffs to be lifted. Not a shock. This is kind of another page. I won't even say another chapter, but another page in the tariff saga. It seems to me that this isn't going to change anytime soon. There are obviously are a lot of other things that are currently going on with tariffs around the globe, especially when it comes to the United States government. A lot of that is circling around India and their combination of tariffs that are being imposed upon them due to them buying Russian oil. So yeah, that's just kind of an ongoing thing. Nothing major breaking news in regards to the tariffs so far. There's been some pretty outlandish claims by the administration on how much revenue that they have made and how much revenue they're projecting they're going to make. Um, but that is pretty much it on that front. Nothing too crazy. And then last but not least, Canada will thank United States President Donald Trump in 20 years, former Quebec Prime Minister says. I don't really know how this quite transitions into the economic news. So we're going to go ahead and skip that one and talk about something that I want to talk about real quick. Um, but you can see the economic shakeup right there is kind of what they're citing. But again, I don't, yeah, they didn't really go into much on that one. So the thing that I want to talk about, let me get my screen pulled up here because I feel like this is going to be an interesting. Let's see here. Yeah, right here, this one. So again, this is all on ground news that I will be sharing with you guys. So OPEC, which is the oil producing countries kind of coalition, basically think of your Saudi Arabia, um, you know, UAE, and countries like that, big oil producing countries, have said that they are potentially looking to do a oil output cut. Um, they're looking to complete that in September, which obviously so they can kind of control the production value of the oil that they have in their country, and they can determine and kind of do some price controls based upon that. Um, so there, the thing is that this is not a huge shock. OPEC has been cutting the production of oil for quite some time, and it looks to me like they're going to start wrapping up their cuts. Now, this could be interesting because the price of oil has had a little bit of a spike as of late, but nothing too crazy. I believe it's actually still trading below $70 a barrel. If somebody wants to look that up real
Hmm.
quick, um, and these cuts when they do happen, they can raise oil prices by 50 cents to a dollar, maybe $1.50, especially if it's like an unexpected cut. But a lot of these cuts have been pretty well telegraphed to the media
Yeah,
and to the economic system writ large.
all I'm seeing with that is $70 per
What was
barrel
that
in July.
Yeah,
In July.
crude
in
oil
July?
futures right now are trading for 63.80.
Oh, 63.80.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
So now that's another thing too, is that obviously oil prices have been dropping with these cuts. So obviously the wonderful economic principle of supply and demand. If the price of oil is still going down and they're cutting, I mean they might start another cutting cycle again to try and prop the price of oil up because obviously it costs a decent amount of money to get oil out of the ground, get it processed, and get it shipped out. And if it's not above a certain price, they're not making as much money on it. Each country kind of has a baseline number that is their break even number for pumping crude oil. And for some countries, I'm throwing out arbitrary numbers here. So for some countries, that's $35 a barrel where they start making money. For some countries, it's $55 a barrel. For some countries, it's like $80 a barrel. So realistically, the success of their oil industry could depend on the price of WTI crude staying above a certain threshold. And the way they do that is by these cuts. Um, so it'll be interesting to see if this stops there, or if they restart some cuts, or if for some
When you say
reason,
cuts, what do you
yeah,
mean? What is getting cut exactly?
the production itself. So like they
Okay,
are
so they're
straight up
just
saying like we are taking
having
less oil
production.
out of the ground. Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Uh, we are taking less oil and
So the
processing less
output
oil.
cut.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. And then next, we will talk about kind of everything that was in the big hullabaloo in the news over the weekend. Was how's Trump? Is Trump okay? um, is he doing all right? And it seems that he is doing just fine. He was seen today in a press conference with the Polish prime minister, to where they obviously talked about kind of the future of the country and how they um, are planning on maintaining each other's security guarantees. And honestly, like
Hmm.
Poland and the United States have been buddies for quite some time, especially in the last two administrations, especially everything that's been going on with Russia, the war in Ukraine. There has been I would say, more of a buddy buddy system going on with the two countries. The country of Poland has actually been buying a lot of American weapons, and obviously trying to tighten the relationship just in case anything were to get hairy off to the east. But yeah, so obviously that was the big concern, though. If anyone was kind of looking into that, Donald Trump had not made a public appearance since Wednesday of last week. There had been instances where um, his entire calendar was completely blank from public appearances from like uh, Friday to Monday, and people were basically being concerned about that. And then there were
People
apparently
were speculating that he was.
yeah, a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
Just because it's not like Trump to stay out of the spotlight that long. I think that was the
Especially
big thing.
especially when there is rumors about him going around
That's true
in
because
terms of his health.
yeah, a lot of the dispelling of the rumors did not occur until yesterday. But obviously he is alive. He is well. He is just rocking and rolling. So
And
that
he's
was kind
been
of the big the big story this weekend, which we were planning on doing a little bit more coverage on that if that turned out to be something that was obviously more serious or more significant. But since that's not the case, we figured we'd just bring it up. But we'll go ahead and go over to the last thing before we get into our main subject, which we're keeping that on the down low until we get there. But last but not least, Trump says the United States military has carried out a strike against a drug carrying vessel that departed from Venezuela. This is an interesting scenario because we're not obviously at war with the country of Venezuela, and this was an interesting
not yet.
strike in the right yet, not yet. So we'll see how that ends up shaking up, because I believe Pete Hegseth today said that we are sending more assets to the region, and I'll be curious to see what that mission ends up transitioning into,
Uh,
because
Did he
uh,
give did he give
okay,
any more on what sending assets looks like?
The
okay,
USS Lake Erie, I believe,
mm,
is
Okay.
being given to, I want to say it was like US Southcom or something like that, which is
okay,
basically who operates in that region and controls the naval
gotcha.
vessels and whatnot. So
Oh. Okay.
that's the only thing that I saw for sure that he was doing. Uh,
Okay.
so I'm
I
not
didn't
sure
know
if
if
there's
there was
anything else, but
anything else. Okay.
Gotcha. Um, so the thing is like I think everybody kind of sees this and goes hip hip hooray, like we killed a drug cartel or people on a boat and things like that. However, uh, the big thing that people have to realize here is that this isn't the way things should be done in these types of instances, because obviously we were well aware of this boat. We were well aware of potentially the contents on this boat. We were well aware that the boat was traversing towards the United States. um, there's usually a really straightforward process that we go about, like when we run into situations like that, and that's just send in the Coast Guard. That's kind of the Coast Guard's job, is to defend us from these boats coming in and delivering these drugs to the United States. So realistically,
It's just
this
smuggling.
was
It's like
Ye-
pirates.
yeah, and like the thing is, you could tell all of this was clearly done as a publicity stunt, because again, they knew where this boat was. They knew what this boat was potentially carrying. Like, so just basically let it
It's
get close enough to the United States and then have the Coast Guard intercept it. Like it's
well,
pretty.
yeah.
You didn't need to predator missile it out of the sky. You didn't
Well,
need to go try and get a kill streak.
Well, yeah, right. It's to push the we're being invaded and with immigration. It's to push that agenda further
Right.
to
That
make
yeah,
it
that we're being
look
invaded and that
negative.
there's drugs just like pouring over the border, things like that. Because
Right.
there, like, if you're gonna make that argument, you're kind of making the argument that the Coast Guard's not doing its job, which is kind of a shitty argument. But hey, I
Right.
digress.
This was
So,
100%.
But that's not
Go ahead.
what were we
that's
saying?
not the narrative being pushed.
Right.
So 100%. Let's blow up your boat and see what you want to do about it.
Yeah.
That
It's
answer is
not even
probably
what
going
you
to be
want to do
nothing.
it. Can you do anything about it?
Correct. Well, if I'm being honest with you, the short answer to that is no. The long answer to that is not really. So,
Right.
Yeah, like
yeah.
they can try, but nothing they do is probably going to make much of a difference other than giving the U.S. an excuse to
Do it again.
Yes.
Do it again,
Right.
but with yeah, boat destruction 2, Electric Boogaloo. So,
Yeah, that's kind of what it. Yeah.
but yeah, so those are kind of the 3 additional stories, quick hitters that I kind of wanted to cover real quick before we dive into our main topic today, which I assume will take up the majority of our time. But that is,
Well, it's the biggest. It's the biggest one, I think.
and it
Like the
has,
most, not biggest necessarily, but like most people are most interested in it.
yep. Oh, I've reached my my daily limit of free articles from Ground News, so somebody might have to take over and share their screen. If anybody wants to take that wonderful leap.
Are you showing something from Ground News still?
I was going to, but I think if I switch over to that article that I was going to highlight, it'll.
Can you send me the article? And I will pull it up.
Well, we will see. Let's see. Fingers crossed here. You can pull it up. All right.
Yes. Yes, it would appear I can.
All right. Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Cool beans. So, yeah, there was a massive press conference that occurred today with a litany of Epstein victims and some Democrat and Republican congressmen and women. So I believe the 3 congressmen and woman that was there today were Ro Khanna, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Thomas Massey, which is quite the combination. You don't necessarily hear those names together very often, but this was kind of a very, I would say, well watched conference. This was ongoing at the exact same time that the president was meeting with the prime minister of Poland, and if I recall correctly, just for comparison's sake, there were about 30-ish thousand people watching the NBC News broadcast that I was currently watching at the time. That was a live stream of the conference, and there were about 2,000 people watching the Associated Press conference of Donald Trump and the Prime Minister of Poland. So if that's any indication, definitely seems like the public is interested in this and trying to see, what comes of this. But just a quick summary, Thomas Massey has filled out a petition, discharge petition, that he is looking to get 2 additional Republicans to come out and sign so that they can write a bill into law that would force the Department of Justice and the FBI to investigate all of the Epstein files. And he basically called for his Republican colleagues to vote for this petition because he said, and I quote, "All the Democrats are going to vote for it. We simply just need to find 2 Republicans who will support us in this effort." So, um, first off, that's pretty damning for his own party. But we'll see, what comes of that. And I've been blabbering for the first 15 minutes. So if you guys would like to hop on in and give your feedback and your thoughts, feel free. Go right ahead.
Did either of you see what Trump said after? In during his press conference with the Polish prime minister, he was asked about basically his reaction to this whole conference that they were having.
Yeah, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I remember his comments correctly, he basically said it was like it's still a Democrat hoax. It's all being purported by the Democrats, and it's basically a bunch of fake news. Even
Yeah.
though,
And
like,
that's kind of
but let's be very
expected.
clear. Let's be very clear, though. Like, he can say whatever he wants,
Mm-hmm.
but Thomas Massey is no Democrat. He is not Marjorie Taylor Greene is no
not a
Democrat.
Democrat.
Like this is the horseshoe theory, right? The people on the left are now siding with the people on the right because it's the horseshoe theory. These people, then they're most different down here, but as soon as you go all the way around, you bend it back up and they're the same again. But realistically, it's kind of like the L theory, or like kind of like a sideways horseshoe, because all of the Democrats have wanted all the Epstein files out for months now.
Well,
And the Republicans have kind of been like hesitant, except obviously there have been some champions behind it, like Massey, and now Marjorie Taylor Greene has joined along. But Ro Khanna is kind of good at this. Ro Khanna is also the same congressman that's been trying to pass the stock trading bans, and he's gotten some Republican congressmen to join him there, and he's actually convinced the Republican congressmen in the Senate to side with him in his legislation as well. So he's good at bridging the gap.
Yeah, it's I don't know, and if you didn't listen to the whole press conference and specifically the spot where the victims were speaking, you should, because I don't know how you listen to them and go, "Yep, that's a hoax." And that's not to
I don't know
say
how you
like
hear what they say and is like, oh, that's all fake. It didn't really happen.
yeah, like not implicating anyone or anything, but like you can't. I don't understand how you sit there and go, "Yep, that's just bullshit." And to say, he brought, I can't remember the JFK.
And my
go ahead.
yeah, sorry. My thought with the whole thing is like, if they're willing to put themselves out there and say all this stuff, like, what do they have to gain besides being threatened?
Yeah, and I can't
or,
remember
or any other ramification.
Right.
I can't remember which one it was, but she said it was her first time like speaking publicly. Up until now, everything she has said, when she's testified and whatnot, has been, in private. Her name has not been public until today. Because at this point, it feels like they're running out of options. But Trump referenced today the JFK files and the big conspiracy about his assassination. Did the CIA do it? Whatever. But every time they release files and then they want more. They release files and then the people want more. They release files and the people want more. He compared that to this, where they released all these files earlier this week, and now we want more. Now we want more. Now we want more. But let's be very clear.
Yeah.
It was like 32,000 pages of stuff.
Yep.
That was mostly redacted. A lot of it was redacted. A lot of it also redacted. A lot of it had already been made public. They didn't really release anything new. And that's why everyone's like, okay, so now release the stuff
good
that
talk.
I guess there's files in the CIA's.
What they already was out there.
Basically, yeah. I guess there's files in the CIA possession, the FBI's possession. They still have financial records. Like there's still all of this stuff that they just refuse to release, and they're hoping that this satisfies people. And they did this strategically, I'm sure, to be like, well, we did it, so we don't need this vote now. But which is part of the reason why I think that press conference happened today, to be like, no, you didn't release anything new. You're still holding back. Let's have it.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, I have heard, and there were many times Ro Khanna during this press conference, he stated, he's like, this is not meant to target Trump. He's like, we are coming after this to get whoever is on that list. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, went so far as to say like, and again, I don't know the validity of her claims. I don't know the validity of Khanna's claims. Like I don't, nobody knows for sure unless you release the files. Um, but basically, like she said that there was at one point where Jeffrey Epstein sexually assaulted somebody while he was on house arrest, like he had an ankle monitor on. And basically,
Jesus.
they said like we're gonna go for the police officer who was supposedly like keeping track of him because like, hey, that
Yeah.
seems like a bit ridiculous that you'd be able to sexually assault someone when you've got an ankle monitor and you've got somebody tracking your location.
Yeah, and she was
So
trying to make it perfectly clear that there's not only like rich and powerful people, potentially in these files. It goes all the way down to even just the average person who helped, like the cop standing
Mhm.
right.
outside the door while all of this happened.
Right. It's kind of one of those. It's the same principle as the Nuremberg trials. You can't simply get away with saying, "Oh, I was just doing my job." Like that's not an excuse. That's not a get out of jail free card. You can't like the fact that you didn't stand up and do something about it. It
And
makes you just as guilty.
do you think we'll see like some sort of document released, whether it be fake or real?
So the thing that I'm curious about, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so maybe if we had a lawyer on, that would be great. But you know, I'm curious if they go the route of the victims release this list of names, right? Like they curate a list of names, they give them to Marjorie Taylor Greene, to Thomas Massey, to Ro Khanna. Like they give them all of these names, right? Um, and then it becomes public. And let's just say I'm throwing out names. I want to be very clear that I'm not accusing these people of being on the list. But the popular ones that have been listed in the past have been individuals like Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's this wonderful process where let's just say you call out those three names, you put them on the public record, they get read out in the official minutes in a congressional hearing, like they are on the record as being in these documents according to these people.
Mhm.
Now, those people who have been accused have a couple of options. They can deny it and say nothing. They can deny it and sue them. Or they can admit that they were in the list and see what happens, see if nothing gets done, and see if they just go on their merry way.
Yeah.
But if they deny it and then sue them, there's this wonderful thing called discovery, where all of
Mhm.
that evidence to try and prove their innocence in this regard gets opened up to investigation and interpretation
Yeah.
by lawyers.
You
So
basically have to prove it's not real.
you basically have to
But
prove that it's not real and
you have to
defamatory.
give
Yeah.
them like everything to do so.
Correct, exactly. It's like if you want to sue somebody to prove that they are defaming you, well, you better be willing to have all of the skeletons in the closet unturned. So,
That's like the whole Washington, was it the Washington Post article or whatever news organization it was that,
mhm,
or Wall Street Journal, I don't know, whoever it was, published that
yeah.
big article, like, here's all this stuff. And Trump was like, I'm going to sue the pants out of you. And then
Oh yeah,
nothing
yeah.
ever happened because, like I said,
Yeah,
then
'cause
things have to
they
start going
took it
to
away.
discovery. And
Yep.
nobody wants that. So,
Nobody wants that. Yep.
Mhm.
So, and that's kind of why it's allowed to be that way. People are allowed to make these bold claims that could potentially be false, they could potentially be lies, but that's why there's a remedy in the courts for that, like for that situation. However, you as the defendant have to be willing to prove that what they said is not true. And by
Right.
doing so, you have to expose that information, whether if that's confidential, that's too damn bad. Then you don't want to win the lawsuit enough, I guess. That's the whole yin and yang of it all, is that if you want your name cleared, you're going to have to go that extra mile.
Well, you're gonna have to not have done anything wrong and then go that extra mile.
Right, right. Which, because that's the thing, is that if there's a good lawyer out there, they'll find it during discovery. It's not
Well,
like it's just gonna
my
get.
thought with the whole thing is if no one did anything, like if this administration did nothing related to the Epstein files,
Mhm.
like Trump's name's not on it,
Mhm.
he would have already put it out there. I
See,
think.
yeah, and I kind of agree too. It's just it's tough because you don't want to set um a a bad precedent with
Yeah.
like everyone is entitled to their Fifth Amendment right.
Mhm.
And this goes for Trump, or this goes for the 92-year-old granny who jaywalked across the street. Everyone is entitled to a Fifth Amendment right, and just because you invoke it does not inherently make you guilty.
Right.
There is
Yeah.
that perception out there, that invoking the Fifth Amendment does make you guilty, but realistically, it
It's
shouldn't.
actually
But I
it's
understand
there it's there
why
for your protection.
it's there for your protection. Whether
Yeah.
well, I mean, you could have you could be a murderer, you could be a serial killer. It's the same thing as due process. It's the same exact thing as due process. You might not have to agree with it, but it is in the Constitution for a reason. It is there to
Yeah.
protect you from
It's
yourself in some cases, and
yeah.
obviously, a bending or a malpractice of the law.
I
So
wouldn't call it a malpractice. It's like interpretation of the law.
that's fair. That's a
Yeah.
fair assessment, because I mean the cops are there to kind of do their jobs, and that is to put criminals away. And if you're willing to incriminate yourself, well, oops,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right.
that's on you, Bucko. So
Yeah, but
whether
asking
you
for
did
a
it or not,
lawyer,
if you
right?
incriminate yourself, you're screwed.
Asking for a lawyer is actually the correct thing you should do.
Right. And saying that, like, per the recommendation of my lawyer, I plead the fifth. Like, I'm just going off of what my lawyer advised me to do, you know, like
Mhm.
whether or not that makes me guilty or not, I would say no. And that's kind of the thing, is that that's why the prosecution, the people accusing you of the crime, have to provide um, evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. And if they can't do that without you incriminating yourself, then they don't have a very good case. You know.
Right. And
Eh,
it's different when it comes to civil, like a civil court, but
right. But
criminal,
yeah.
yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of like, you see all those posts on social media. It's like, oh, well, Donald Trump's like not talking to anybody. It's like, well, and if I was in his situation, I wouldn't necessarily want to talk to anybody either. It's
Nope,
like,
I wouldn't.
yeah. So,
Why would you?
yeah, why would you? Like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, make the prosecution prove it without your help. You know what I mean?
If I
That's
was
the big thing.
honestly, if I'm Trump, I'm just going about my day to day, like
Yeah,
none of this happened.
and that's the thing, is until and unless they like force Trump to testify under oath, there's really nothing that he has to do in this scenario. Like, in this scenario, he just kind
Nope,
of just
just has to keep running the country
right, and just keep calling it a hoax to try and get as many
Yep.
people to be disassociated with it as possible. So,
and distract from it.
but now the question that I will pose to you both, and I know we had this conversation in our group chat earlier, is like, do you think that they get the 2 votes they need from the Republican side to move forward with this discharge petition?
I think, I think, I want to say yes, they'll get the votes,
Okay.
just because there's already some. This is a big issue to people on both sides.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
not just Democrats.
Yep.
And I think how many votes do they need? Just two?
Just 2, because they they
I don't
they are
think
aware
it's
that all Democrats are going to vote for it. Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene are going to vote for it. And I believe that the number is 218 is what you need to reach. Democrats currently have 213. So therefore, if you get 213 Republicans plus the Marjorie Taylor Greene, or sorry, you know what I meant. If you get Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, you're at 215, plus 3 more is 218.
unless
Lauren
they
Boebert was there too, so I would assume she is also going to
Oh, okay, gotcha,
vote for it.
gotcha. I
So
didn't
that's
see her
why
at the conference when
that's why
they
they need the
closed their
two.
remarks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and
okay, good.
the only way I could argue that they wouldn't is this is just them making some sort of pitch to the voters that they are fighting for this too.
Mhm.
and then they might vote differently.
So
Because I've seen that in the past with some Republican voters where they will speak out against something but then vote a completely different way.
like Lisa Murkowski, she's
Yeah.
a big example of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So I don't
now,
know.
because that's fair. The only difference that I see to that though, and I mean, I guess it's kind of similar to what Lisa Murkowski did, but it's kind of different, is that Thomas Massey during his conference basically said like, "There's no excuse to not vote for this." Like
Yeah, right.
he said you can't say, "Oh, well it's their like they put in something else into the law, they put in something else to the bill." He's like, "No. This would be a standalone like all this is going to write a law that says that the Department of Justice has to or the Department of Justice and the FBI have to investigate all of the happenings with the Jeffrey Epstein files." That's basically all the law is going to state. So
But wouldn't
he's oh, go ahead.
but wouldn't they have already done that?
Not inherently. Because they brought that up too. They basically said like, if people in the Department of Justice and the FBI are hiding things that they shouldn't be hiding, like they want to go after them too. Is basically what they said in that press conference.
But hiding and investigating are different because investigating makes it sound like you don't have all the information. But if they already have it, what is there to investigate?
Right, but now like let's say I'm throwing out an example here, but let's say Jake, you're the director of the FBI and you have this desk that sits in the corner of your office and it is stacked 3 feet high, and it says in big bold letters Epstein files on it, and it's just sitting there. You don't have to investigate it. I mean, you could go
Okay,
down
so-
to the water tower or the water cooler and just keep drinking water all
So
day
they
and
have
just like,
they have the information. They just have not
are
gone
choosing
into
to either not investigate it.
Okay.
Because that's the thing too, is if you believe that there's been reports that Donald Trump's name was combed through by over 1,000 FBI employees and
Right.
redacted from the records, like, so there's also that now, because that's what they want to get to the bottom
and
to
I'm
as
not
well.
sa-
If the FBI investigated this, they covered it up and then are refusing to release the results because they covered it up. They said they want them to be responsible. So
Yeah. And it really doesn't matter if Obama's on the list, it doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter. I think,
Yeah.
and that's what a lot of people just don't get. Like, especially Republicans do not get, is that Democrats do not care if Obama's on the list, if
Bill
Clinton's
Clinton?
on the list,
Yeah.
if Hillary Clinton's on the list, if
Biden's
Elmo's on the list.
yeah,
Nobody
Biden,
cares. Release the damn files.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's just what a lot of people don't understand, is that they do not care who is on the list. They just want everybody on the list held accountable.
As you should.
Right, as anyone should.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. But I can't put my head, my brain in the head of these people. Like, I can't rationalize the way they're thinking because it just does not make sense to me. But
I try to look at it less so from like the public, more so from what the politicians are thinking.
well, the politicians don't want to. They don't want to go to the. Well, hey, to be fair, the politicians could end up in a minimum security prison in Texas. So
Yeah.
yeah, partying it up with Ghislaine Maxwell, which they brought that up during the conference too. They were just like, "Why did she get moved from Florida to Texas? Like, what did she say?" And one of the victims said, like, she was talking to Todd Blanche with the same coercive, like, and manipulative voice that she used on me when she convinced me to go take this job at this private island, thinking that this was going to be some great job for me before I went to college or something like that or whatever.
Right.
But and let's also be very clear about this too. Not all of these victims were minors when this occurred, and that also doesn't change the fact that they were sexually abused and raped. Like, can we because, like, I feel like a lot of people have tried to make that argument.
It's still
Yeah,
beyond
like,
messed up.
I've seen somebody make that point that, like, oh, well, these people weren't children when they went to the island. And
So what?
like, last time I checked,
Right.
rape is still rape.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what the age is. Are you kidding me? What kind of a
I mean, it makes the
deranged
crime.
thought process is that?
It makes the crime worse, but it's still a crime.
Yeah, it makes the crime worse that it was against a child, but like, still, it's still a crime. Yeah, it's still
Right?
an,
Yeah.
and it's a,
And these are lives, people's lives.
right, and it's still a crime that gets you locked in jail for years. It's not
Yeah.
like you went down to the CVS and stole a couple packs of Starburst or something like that. No, like I saw that the other day and I wanted to rip my hair out. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me?"
Yeah.
So
Some people just are okay with it, or they don't believe it. If it's not,
yeah,
if
they
it's
don't believe it.
yeah.
Just mind-boggling to me. But oh well, what can you do?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you hear about like who's the one guy that sexually assaulted the girl and he only got like 6 months.
Was it
What's his name?
Brock something?
Brock Turner?
Yeah, Brock Turner.
Yeah.
Brock Turner.
Yeah, he only got like 6 months in prison.
Yeah, but the thing is that social media has made his life a living hell because they basically track him
There's
anywhere he
still gonna
goes
be
now, and
right. There's still going to be ramifications. Like you're
right,
never going to get your livelihood back, but
right,
I mean, 6 months is nothing.
correct. Also, did we lose Zachary? I see he's like,
No,
oh no,
I'm still here.
that was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I kept like looking over
He's
you,
frozen.
and you like had not moved. Like there could have been a glass of water sitting on your shoulder, and it would have not even rippled. That was impressive. Because as soon as you said that you were here, I was like, oh
Oh,
God,
he's here.
like that's
No,
impressive.
yeah, no, I am
He
just
went full
was
mannequin.
deep in
Yeah.
reading. So,
See, I can't even do that. I'm like twitching.
mm,
But anyways, you're gonna say?
let me ask you this.
Okay. No. Oh, sorry.
The races for the seats held by Thomas Massey, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, were they close or were they not?
I believe they were closer than when they first got elected,
Mm-hmm.
which is concerning for them due to the fact that Trump had a pretty resounding victory.
Mhm.
However, I do think that Boebert's seat got she's in a new district now, or she's going to run in a new district,
Mhm.
because I believe that her seat got kind of redistrict to the point where she didn't feel comfortable, like she didn't feel like she was going to win.
Mhm.
And then I think Marjorie Taylor Greene's is a pretty safe district, but some people were thinking that she might get primaried by another Republican. Thomas Massey, I don't think his seat is in danger as far as I'm concerned. And then Ro Khanna, I also don't believe his seat is in danger. So I don't think that there's political motivations in regards to that. I could see, let me see if I can find
So,
Ro.
well, you look that up. The reason I ask is out of all of the Republicans that could come out and support this vote, this bill, why them? Why not some of the other, we'll call them more moderate Republicans or less Trump allied Republicans? My theory, and why I do not know that they will get the votes, these three feel like they're pretty safe. Like they are trying to appeal to, and I don't know the demographics of who voted for them. Maybe they're trying to.
Thomas,
go ahead.
I just want to say real quick, Thomas Massey ran unopposed. Ro Khanna won by a margin of over 25 points. Actually, sorry, over 35 points. And I'm investigating the next two, so please continue.
Yeah.
Or do you think they actually believe that he's not on the list and they just are
I don't
push some weird agenda that he's not on the list and that they just need to release him and stop dragging their feet?
That's possible, but I think it's more likely that they feel safe. Whether he is or isn't, they feel like their seats are relatively safe. If he is, then it looks good for them because they championed
They're on the right
to get him
side
to
of it.
release. If not,
Yeah.
then they still look good because now everybody knows and they were part of that. So it's kind of a
But why is
win-win for them.
but
But go ahead.
why isn't everyone doing that then?
Ha ha ha. See. So, two theories. One, probably the less likely, is too many of them know at least some people who are on that list and know that it comes out, they're in trouble. I don't know how likely that is because I really don't know how much like Congress knows about what hasn't been released. But my other theory is some of these people who haven't spoken up are just terrified of what Trump might do to them. But also maybe we're running in closer races where if some of their constituents see them turning against the will of Trump, maybe their seats aren't so safe. Maybe they don't feel like they're going to be reelected. That's the way I kind of look at it. They are taking the very cautious route of let's not accidentally piss off the people who voted for us. Or it could be a combination of both. It could be some of them know more about what's in the list. Some of them are afraid to lose their congressional seats.
So are they asking? Are they like polling their people?
Well, a lot of
their territory.
Over the last recess, a lot of them had like town halls and whatnot with their constituents to talk about various issues. I don't know the contents of most of them, but I would wager they were able to get a pretty good sense of where the people in their districts are kind of sitting with the issues.
So the closest candidate is Boebert, who is within a 10-point margin. The rest are all very, very safe seats. However, in searching through that, there are quite a few Republicans that are in very, very, very safe seats. Like
So
they could kick a puppy on TV and not lose.
So they could also be doing it to maybe get some of those middle ground voters.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that it does seem like it's kind of a win-win scenario for these people to just try and get what's on the list. Other than the fact of like what Zachary said that you're going to poke the Trump bear, and is that a bear that you're willing to poke?
Right, because he's gonna find something on you. He's gonna make it.
He will find a way to retaliate one way or another, while he still has the power to do so.
And I mean, he even said today that the people who are coming out to this meeting, like if any Republicans join them, it's an attack on the administration, is basically what he said. So he's already laid the groundwork for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was a UMass poll from obviously University of Massachusetts that, and I'm just going to read off the numbers here for you real quick. That there was 958 respondents, and they only asked these questions to respondents who had heard, quote, a lot, some, or not much about the Jeffrey Epstein issue. And there was 50% that strongly agree that Trump administration is hiding something important. 37% agree that Trump should appoint a special prosecutor to conduct an independent review. 49% say that Donald Trump was good friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and a list of Jeffrey Epstein client exists is also at 49%. So and that's strongly agree. Somewhat agree. You're getting into the looks like 70%, 60% or 68%, 59%, and 63%. So like you're looking at almost 2/3 of people in this poll basically said like, yeah, we're pretty convinced that the Trump administration is involved in this some way, shape, or form. And also out of that 958, the breakdown was 36% have heard a lot, 41% have heard some, 19% had not heard much, and 4% have never heard of Jeffrey Epstein. And
honestly,
I commend those people.
How
are
they just off the grid?
Yeah. What were you saying, Zachary?
Those
How are they taking the
breakdowns are
poll then?
kind of crazy that the numbers are so low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, oof.
Yeah. Well, to be fair though, let me also put it this way. So just so that you have a little bit more faith in humanity. Um,
Well, bold strategy.
so yeah, so the two tiers somewhat disagree and strongly disagree. Like the first one, the Trump administration is hiding something important. That is a total of 15% are in those two categories. Because so the rest are in like neither, like not really sure. Which I have a feeling that a lot of that 19% of not much is kind of that gray
Mhm.
area. Um, so the Trump administration should appoint a special prosecutor. That is 13%. Donald Trump was once good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. That is 10%. And a list of Jeffrey Epstein clients exists. That is only 6%. So realistically, a lot of people
That's
who
fair.
know what's going on are pretty sure of the end results of this. It's just a matter of getting it out there.
Mhm.
But that's
Right.
the thing, though, is it brings up the question. It's like, is this going to impact people's voting choices? Is it really? And I'm not convinced that it's going to.
Unless
No.
we actually get the files and it's pretty clear cut who's on there and kind of who did what.
Yeah, it's gonna have
I don't
to.
think
It's
so.
right. Yeah, it's gonna have to come down to like how crazy, how messed up of the stuff that's going on, and who's doing
Mhm.
it.
So okay, so here I've got a spicy dynamite stick of a hypothetical here for you.
Okay.
So let's just say tomorrow we wake up and 62 Republicans have agreed to flip the script, right? Completely
Okay.
flip, and they are in for signing this petition and getting this information to where there is now a supermajority in Congress to pass any type of Epstein related law.
Okay.
And the only way that a law does not get passed on this is if Donald Trump himself stamps it with the veto, which would go horribly for him. Let's
Oh
put it
yeah,
out there.
that would be bad.
Now, let's say, and again, this is the stick of dynamite hypothetical here,
Okay.
that it all implodes for Trump. You know, the 2026 midterms come around. Trump's been impeached. He's been removed from office. JD Vance is in power.
Okay.
Do Democrats try and maintain any sort of olive branch with the Republicans who sided with them, or do they lean fully into the why were you trying to protect a pedophile for so long? That's again just a total hypothetical. This may never happen, but
Well,
I just wanted to throw it out there to get your thought process.
my thought, it's not about protecting the pedophile. It's about protecting themselves and their position.
Right. I'm gonna say that the Democrats are gonna frame it that way.
Yeah, they are, but realistically, I mean,
I would say it
Yeah.
fully depends on what got them to flip. Because they're not just gonna flip for nothing. There's gotta be a reason. So did somebody promise them something? Did they just suddenly go, "Nope, change your heart, let's be on the right side of history"?
Mhm.
I can't imagine they would have done that already.
Right.
If the Dems made a deal, I would say that olive branch probably gets extended out to a degree.
Correct.
It's going
Yeah.
to be a very, very thin branch that, a fly lands on, it snaps in half, and it's all over.
On fire.
But I would say it would exist. Now, if the Democrats had nothing to do with the Republicans suddenly flipping, I don't think there's an olive branch because 100% the Republicans would not flip without knowing they're getting something out of it. And more than likely, whatever that is not going to benefit
But do you
the
think-
Democrats anyway.
but
That's
do you
fair.
think it'll be different under Vance?
No.
No. I'm not necessarily saying that the regime writ large is going to be
No.
different.
What I'm
Yeah.
saying is,
Oh,
I personally, I'm going to throw my opinion. I think Vance is a
how
little
dare
bit
you?
more level-headed than Trump is.
I agree. I think he's definitely more level-headed and calculated. You might not like
Yes.
him as a person, but I
Right.
think that he's got that traditional politician
Yes, and
vibe to him.
I think Dems would be more willing to work with him and Republicans.
Counterpoint, Project 2025, this was the plan all along. Get Trump out, Vance comes in,
Vance comes in.
resume.
Yeah.
Right, which is why Zachary's talking about if the Republicans just flip tomorrow and have nothing to do with the Democrats in doing so, it's kind of leans more towards that thought process.
Yeah, they flipped for a reason, and it's probably not a good one.
Correct. Because they know that they've got enough information to do exactly what they need or they want to do now. Nothing gray about it. It's like they've got enough info to be like, okay, well, time to take him down and time to install Vance as president type deal. Again, we're getting into conspiratorial stuff here.
This is all just
neutral conspiratorial news network.
Well, yeah.
Go on, Jake.
I think
it's a dangerous proposition these days.
I know. I think thinking. It's scary. I don't know.
That's why people don't do it.
I still think it comes down to like I just don't see a world where Republicans are just gonna flip like that.
No, you're right. I mean, I don't think that this is going to happen either. I am holding out some semblance of hope that they like, and I'm not saying like all of a sudden a huge bundle of them flip over, right?
But I also think that they're this way because Trump has made them this way.
Correct.
I think things would go kind of back to normal if they were all to flip.
That depends on how quickly the wounds heal in a sense, like because like let's be fair.
But I don't think Dems are that like. I mean,
some of them are. Some of the newer ones. Some of the newer ones are.
Like,
yeah,
the older ones
like Jasmine Crockett
care.
is not going to just roll over and let these people come back in with open arms.
Yeah, but then you have the same problem, but on the opposite side.
Yep, you're right. And I also am willing to bet that there are some Democrats out there in Congress who want revenge against what the Republicans have done against them. Like I guarantee you, there's some that are just straight up vindictive. Yeah, like there's some out there
that got arrested.
Oh gosh. Is that Garcia?
Garcia.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
I think that sounds right.
No. That's
Are you talking about the one who got arrested for trying to get in the prison or whatever?
Yeah.
So I think those were congressmen though.
Oh,
not a senator. Yeah.
Not a senator. Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I just again I wanted to pose that hypothetical because let's just say we wake up tomorrow and suddenly things are drastically different. What does happen? I mean, we don't know. I mean, the thing is that that's an unprecedented occurrence.
Does anyone know what is going on anymore?
Everybody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. That's why the stock market exists and why we can't make money.
So let me pose.
That's a different episode.
Yeah.
This question to you.
Okay.
This vote either never happens, doesn't pass, whatever. Then what? How long? Thomas, I think it was Thomas Massey said he's not going to stop. He said after listening to the victims speak today, he is more compelled than ever to make this happen.
Yeah.
How long does this actually happen or go on for? How long before Trump completely squashes it one way or another, however he may choose to do that? Or how long before even the couple of Republicans with it jump ship and it is back to just being a Democrat only?
Thomas Massey thing.
How do you, if you're Trump, how do you completely squash it forever?
You ostracize Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, and Thomas Massey to the point where nobody is going to step out against you. And then these people will get primaried in 2026 and they will either lose their seat or they will win, but be kind of party pariahs, if you will, which they already kind of are getting to that point.
what's bananas to me, some of the absolute dumb shit that Marjorie Taylor Greene says.
And
I
Boebert.
don't personally, and Boebert, yeah, both of them. Boebert, I feel like has been
She's been
relatively
quieter because her
yeah,
family has been going through a lot of shit, which,
yeah.
whether you like her or don't like her, that is stressful for any human being.
Hmm.
So I can understand
Yeah,
if she's kind of not in the spotlight as much.
yeah.
Right.
MTG though, she can't stay out of the spotlight. That's her whole deal. Uh,
Yep.
I cannot imagine it would be that hard for Trump, with the power that he has, or the control over thoughts that he seems to have for a large portion of the country, uh, for him to turn the party against all of them, honestly, but especially
Because
Just
Marjorie Taylor
grind it
Greene,
down.
because
but when
she says enough dumb shit, you can put a whole highlight video together and just make her look like a complete fool.
but
Right.
when do we say, well, this Trump is silencing everybody? What are we gonna do? Like, when do they have enough? When are they gonna like not be
Whenever it
afraid?
stops benefiting them,
All right.
which
By the way, this is 1 hour ago from Thomas Massey's Twitter. Quote: Survivors at our press conference announced they are privately compiling their own Epstein list. They would be sued into homelessness for naming names, but Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene and I are willing to name names in the House of Representatives under constitutional, quote, speech or debate immunity, unquote. So that was
that
an hour
would,
ago.
I mean, that if that happens, that essentially circumvents this whole process. You still would want those files, but if you have the victims just rattling off these names, it's gonna light a fire under somebody's ass, and I don't know who that is, but somebody's
Mhm.
gonna feel a lot of pressure to do something, whether that be cover their ass or get everything else out there, one way or the other.
And maybe I'm just a good Samaritan and want to do do good things, but why isn't anyone like helping these survivors like say the names, like protecting them if they were to say the names?
Well,
Well, and I
short
think
of,
that's where we're starting to get now. Go ahead, Zachary.
I would say, short of paying for protection, which is expensive,
Yep.
there's no
Yeah,
other
but
real way
like,
to guarantee their safety.
yeah, I
Yeah.
get it, but like,
I mean, right. I mean, it was kind of like it's a shitty situation because it's like, yeah, in order to like give these people the protection in order to voice their grievances, like society doesn't, inherently care for these people. They're kind
Yeah,
of like afterthoughts. Like, again, for the rich and powerful have their ways of keeping people to shut up.
I would say, let's
Whether that,
remember
yeah,
who supposedly is on this list. Some of the richest and most powerful people on the planet, supposedly.
yeah,
If you think they don't have a way to keep you quiet, a couple million
and
in a cop's pocket, who knows?
right,
mhm,
I'm not saying that.
right. What
But
are you
that's
saying,
the
Jake?
kind of
I'm
stuff
just
that
trying
they
to,
have to think about. Is it worth
yeah,
being
is it
either
worth it?
even just shunned into oblivion by anybody because like five people run all
You
the
get
biggest businesses in the freaking world? Uh,
right, and you get called a liar, and next thing you know,
yeah,
that goes
it's
again. Like, right, because and then like you get like if you like let's say you find someone who's like willing to step up and protect you, it's like suddenly they're roped into it as well, and they could be completely ostracized from existence. And it's like, do they want to take that personal risk at great cost to them? And it's like, it's a very
But
admirable thing to
it's
do.
right. It's where morals come into it. Like,
Hmm.
it might be the right thing ethically to do,
Right,
morally, or however you want to look at it, but you put yourself at risk too.
right. It's the wonderful thing is just like life isn't, and I know you're not saying this, Jake, but it's just like life isn't fair.
Yeah,
Like it sucks
right. But
because
these, I just look at it like these people are coming from like a
oh, let
they're already in
me
a messed up situation.
yeah, they are.
Like
And it
all they want to
sucks.
do, and yeah, and I would, and it's easier. I will never experience what they have went through.
Mhm.
So, but like, if I was them, I would just come out and say it.
Right. And I think it's the blending of coming out and saying it while having the platform to say it on.
Mhm.
I think, like, let's put it this way. They've realistically been building this platform that they're currently on now for the course of 20 years.
Right.
And they're getting to the point now where they've finally got a sturdy enough platform to scream from the rooftops like, "Hey, this happened to us. Like this is something that
These are the
happened." Like,
people.
right, rather than, like, because let's just be honest, like 5 years ago, right? Let's say we started this podcast 5 years ago, and we had one of the Epstein victims on our podcast.
Yeah.
They would go out and say all this information, and they would get 52 views at most over the course of a month, and 51 of those views would be hitmen coming
Yeah,
after us
trying to
and
find
them.
them. Right.
So,
Yeah, and that's a good point. Well,
like,
I mean, I would just, in my mind might have been completely different if I was actually in that situation, because then you think of your family,
yep.
you think of other factors too. So like
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Is bottom line is it's just tough. It's
There's
just tough.
there's a
Mm-hmm.
quote from I don't know if either of you have seen the movie Shooter. Uh,
Uh-uh.
I
at
have,
at the
but
very end, the attorney general, he goes, "For the record, I don't like the way this turned out any more than you do, but this is the world we live in, and justice does not always prevail." Like,
Mm.
it's
mhm,
it sucks, but
Yeah.
bad guys win sometimes. Like, that happens. It
yep.
is it
No, I
is the
get
world
it.
we live in.
I was just trying to be the good Samaritan, the good guy.
Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
and and that's if that's how you should live your life. Live your life always trying to be the good person. It's just knowing that
It's
sometimes the
Yeah.
the the bad people win.
but I mean, yeah, it doesn't make you a bad person if you're looking out for yourself too.
Correct. That is very true.
Hmm.
And that's why, and this is just a statement. Like, again, I've never been in this situation before, but it's a lot of people say, like, "Oh, well, why didn't they talk? Well, why didn't they speak out? Why didn't they talk about this sooner?" It's like, maybe because they just weren't ready to. I mean, this is a traumatic
Right,
experience.
it's
I mean,
traumatic.
it's the same as, like, let's say
And they're
you
afraid. That's still
you were
like
yeah,
they have
like,
to relive it too.
yeah, they have to relive. Well, that was the thing. Like, I don't know if it was one of the Congress individuals. I don't know if it was Green or if it was Connor or who it was at the conference earlier. But, like, they brought up the fact that, like, it takes so much courage to, like, come out in front, especially, like, for what they're doing now, like, because they are getting lambasted by the media and people who are asking them questions, like, that are the exact same thing. It's like, why didn't you come out and speak out about this
Mhm.
sooner? What about this report that said that you lied about this certain instance 22 years
Well,
ago, and that this person is no longer found guilty of these crimes, and they think that you're a liar, and next thing you know, it's like,
it's like all the Diddy stuff and the Bill
yeah,
Cosby stuff.
yep, yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's like, why did that take so long to come out? It's like, because
R.
these
Kelly.
people are afraid. Yeah,
Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah. and
Mhm.
and again, it comes down to I mean, it doesn't matter if you're going up against the rich and powerful. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of victims of sexual assault and abuse out there that, they'll never come out, even though these people
But
that did these
yeah,
things to them are not rich and powerful. But it's just a matter of it's a matter of
it
fear. Like,
takes time, and it
it
also
takes
takes
time. And
time. Yeah.
yeah, it takes time too. The legal system is not a well-oiled machine at times. I mean, just today,
No.
for example, not to throw off into a completely different story tangent, but if you remember when we talked a few months ago, when Trump held funding for Harvard, like the $2 billion
Mhm.
for Harvard, that got overturned by a judge today. It took him that long
Yeah.
to finally
Well,
get that through the court process and to
yeah.
overturn it, just for probably the administration to do it again some other way, and then it's going to
Well,
get drug out
some
for
of
another
these,
5 months.
well, some of these criminal cases take forever, but that's different
Hmm.
because it's the burden of proof is more extreme. You have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, those families don't get that closure right away that they are seeking.
Right.
It
Yeah.
takes them years.
let's not forget, the court of public opinion is a real thing. As soon as they speak out,
Mm.
people are making up their minds right away, one way or another, for
Yeah, and
better or
these people
worse.
and and people online they on these public forums, these people get death threats.
Yep. Oh, I'm guaranteeing you they're going to get death threats right now.
Oh yeah, it's
Mhm.
probably already going on.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. But I know I just wanted to read one last thing and then we can wrap up. I know we're over time. But this is from Marjorie Taylor Greene's Twitter account. This is the entire quote. For decades, the rich and powerful protected Jeffrey Epstein while innocent women and children lived in silence and shame. That shame does not belong to the victims. It belongs to every politician, bureaucrat, and elite who turned a blind eye. The FBI, the DOJ, the CIA, and Epstein's estate hold the truth. It is time for full transparency and accountability. No more cover ups. The American people deserve answers. We owe the victims justice, healing, and the truth they were denied for far too long. Unquote. Yeah. So then she proceeded to go on and talk about Don Lemon and being removed by Capitol Police and the Tesla takedown protest and a mob that organized the destruction of private property. But anyways, all
it's
right.
good to know that classic MTG is still in there somewhere.
Right, exactly.
Right.
She's not gone yet. So, all right. So before we wrap up today's episode, I
Interesting
see
that she
something.
cares so much about it. I don't know.
It is, and I wonder, just how much of a vocal proponent she's going to be in the future. Because I agree,
Yeah.
it is surprising to see her kind of take this stand, especially when, and again, this is a side note, but when Nancy Mace, who was a victim of sexual assault herself, um, does
Oh yeah,
not
I
seem to
saw
be
that.
like joining that side. And I'm sure there's
Yeah.
probably other congressional individuals on the Republican side, women being that might have been, victims of sexual assault at one point, and they are also choosing to not pursue this endeavor. So it'll be
Mhm.
interesting. It's just, yeah, it is just very shocking that she has leaned completely into this when others have not.
Right.
All right, I see it lurking in the background. The public cannot see what Zachary sees right now, but I'm sure he's ready to bring it up. We have more panic in the disco, aka hurricanes in the Atlantic, potentially coming our way.
Yeah, so ye old 7-day tropical weather outlook. There's a high likelihood of a new tropical storm developing sometime within the next 7 days, taking a pretty similar track to what ended up being Aaron. So at the moment,
Aaron,
it doesn't look like a U.S. landfall still, but I do want to
bring
pop
up the
over
18Z.
to the old model here. Wouldn't you
Bring up
know?
the 18Z.
It is the
I
Ah,
have no
18Z.
idea what you guys
Yeah.
are talking about except the hurricane.
Yeah. So this is the American forecast model that just kind of gives its best idea of where
what the fuck is
the
a
old
kilometer?
hurricane may go. It's far enough out where this is probably not really accurate, but it is interesting to see. You can see it come into the frame there. Uh, it meanders north and then takes a pretty sharp northwest turn. Brushes right up against the coast of North Carolina, but doesn't technically make landfall. But then it slams into the northeast.
Oof.
So as
Oof.
a relatively strong storm. Again, if I had to wager based on some of the upper air patterns, it actually probably ends up curving more out to sea. And we end up with a similar situation to Aaron, where the Outer Banks of North Carolina and whatnot have some pretty rough surf, some flooding, that kind of stuff. But keep an eye on it because the U.S. has been lucky so far this year, and it's still kind of peak season. So will we stay lucky?
Right.
Oh yeah.
I'm curious. If you want to elaborate on this, we can take like a 5 second thing. Uh, when it comes to the Gulf, why has the Gulf been so calm? Is it just like happenstance, just total luck? Has there been like a certain air pattern that you're noticing? Like why has the Gulf Coast just been spared from any development so far? Or not the Gulf Coast, but just the Gulf in general been spared from any tropical development?
So the Gulf doesn't like storms don't typically develop in the Gulf. They
That's
will
true.
they
That is
will
very
track
true.
into the Gulf, or come up from like Central America and kind of curve up that way. Uh, the biggest problem right now is just the upper air pattern. You still get the waves off of Africa, but the upper air pattern has not been conducive for these storms to form on a regular basis. But then also they get just steered away from the U.S. If this storm that's going to develop within the next week or so was probably a week earlier, uh, probably a different story. But because of when it's coming in, there's going to be a pretty, if you base on just this model here, bit of ridging in place, or at least zonal flow across the U.S., which helps steer the hurricane out to sea, basically. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
And-
But it's basically, for the most part, has just been luck,
Mhm.
and timing hasn't been right to get a storm to come at the U.S., basically.
Gotcha. And then last but not least, before
Oh,
I do my sign off.
Christ, on a bike.
Oh,
The Reds, they hurt.
yeah, pain and suffering is all we know.
Yeah.
Um,
It's over.
it is over. But
Feeling that
Hurricane.
Christ on a bike is funny.
Hey, he's got to get his exercise too.
That's right.
I mean, there was always Jesus tap dancing Christ. I like that one too.
Hurricane Kiko.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about Kiko?
Let's pull her up, shall we?
Jake, what do you think about Hurricane Kiko?
I have no idea, Brian. It's my bedtime.
Do me a favor and chug a coffee real quick.
I mean,
Hell no.
she's strong out there right now, ain't she?
Yeah, we got some visual satellite of Kiko.
Surprisingly, no. The IR.
What?
Oh no, just kidding. There it is.
Okay.
It just wasn't loading.
Look at her. She purty.
She just vibing out there.
Yeah, she just murking all those fishes.
Intensity wise, should be on the
Just the
downtrend here
Megalodon
in the
in the
next
middle,
24 to
that's fine.
36 hours.
That's good. What'd you say, Jake?
It's just the Megalodon in the middle.
No, the megalod. Fun fact: megalodons stir up all hurricanes. That's how
Yep.
it works.
I want to
right.
point out this: the model track guidance for said storm would be
Yeah.
approaching the Hawaiian Islands pretty close. So
I
we
was-
better
That's
hope it
okay.
weakens.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad that you brought up that track because I was looking at it and I was thinking like, this doesn't seem like it's gonna really deviate from
Yeah.
the islands here.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty close call, but realistically, by the time it gets out there, it should be.
Because that's our 144. So there's a
Yeah.
few models that have it still as a Cat 2, Cat
Yeah.
3, but most of them have it down to a tropical storm. So that's good.
Yeah, it's going to be going into encountering more wind shear as it moves up to the northwest. So, and really kind of less favorable water as well. But yeah.
Oh, hey, the Reds are losing by even more now. Nice.
Oh, is it
Alright.
worse than 11-6?
It's 12-6.
Oh no.
All right. Well, now that the Reds fans in the room are depressed, we will leave this episode here. I know we went about 15 minutes over, but obviously there was a lot going on this week, which is why we had the title. Does anybody know what's going on anymore? Because it's tough keeping track. So we appreciate you tuning in to the Neutral News Network to stay with us and try and get your weekly dose of news and information. We have a TikTok now. We have our Facebook page. Yeah, and we've started posting some reels slash videos to TikTok that are clips from our show. If you want to check that out, I would imagine that it's probably very similar to a lot of our other taglines of Neutral News Network, which is basically where you can find us on multiple platforms now at this point. Outside of that, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, and subscribe. That way you can keep up with new episodes that we release. We try and do this every Wednesday. So
hop in the chat too. Hop in the chat.
yeah, hop in the
Ask
chat.
us questions.
chat's been quiet as of late, so
Yeah, I know.
we even need our like loyal viewers to just start asking more questions. So
Yeah, just ask questions. Anything you
Yeah.
want to talk about towards the end
Yeah.
of the video, or like if you have questions about what we're discussing.
Hey,
'Cause-
we're
oh.
gonna sorry, because this is fun for me. We're gonna start a
Okay.
segment where we read TikTok comments until it gets to the point where there's too many and we can't read them anymore.
Oh, that's
Okay.
fun. I like that.
Just
Yeah,
to so we got this video's done somewhat well. That's exciting.
Okay. Okay.
300 views. So that's good for us.
Not
That's
nice.
pretty
Nice.
solid, actually.
Better than
Yeah.
YouTube. Better than
Yeah.
YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Very true.
much better.
Perps25 says Netanyahu has a warrant from the International Criminal Court for war crimes against humanity, yet he gets a standing ovation from both sides of Congress. So we're talking
Yeah.
about Putin being able to just come to the U.S. and
Do what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do what he wants, right?
Sean says
We mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
the ICC, the International Court, basically, is a joke of a criminal court. They only try people from the third world. The charge against Putin is unfounded. Oh no.
Well,
So
I don't know about that one.
TikTok, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Russian bot, but it's fine.
Potentially,
We'll keep
Could
going.
be.
I mean, I agree with the first part of the statement. I think
Yeah.
the ICC is a very ineffective criminal court.
Oh
But
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is
Okay.
the charge is that he kidnapped over 30,000 children from Ukraine when the Russians themselves asked for a list of all the children that the Ukrainians are talking about. The Ukrainians could only provide a list of 300 children, which the Russian military have said they have removed these children because of the fighting. Anyone who supports this court should know that the Western powers control it.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah. I don't know about that one, Chief. Yeah, because we it's just 300. Okay, yeah, because we removed them because of the fighting. Like, yeah, did you bring them back?
Right,
Did you
where
give
they
them back?
at?
Yeah, where they at? No.
Right.
And I don't care if it's 300 or 30,000. And I still believe that the number probably falls somewhere in between. But
Right.
what the? Oh my God. Oh, hey! We appreciate the engagement. What was
That's
it,
right.
Sean?
Yeah, no, this is good.
Yeah.
Sean and
We may clown you,
Sean.
but we appreciate the
That's right.
engagement.
Yeah, you're probably clowning us. That's fine.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. You know what? It's
So-
all in good fun, air quotes.
So we're gonna add a
Yeah.
segment as long as we keep getting comments and stuff in those videos.
Perfect. Yeah, we can always do like top 3.
Yeah, I'll find a way to play the clip on here. It should not be that hard. That way everybody
Yeah.
can have context, and then we'll do just a segment where we just listen and look at comments.
Perfect. I love it.
Just make videos in response.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can send you guys the comments or whatever. You record a video,
yeah.
I can do that. We can respond to those comments.
yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can do that.
I am here for it.
All right.
All right.
Perfect.
Sounds
Well, on
good.
that note, we're gonna let Jake get his beauty sleep, even though he
Thank
doesn't.
you.
That's
right. That's
yeah.
right.
All right. So with that, thanks so much for tuning into the Neutral News Network. We hope to be back next Wednesday, where hopefully the news cycle is still exciting and interesting. But outside of that, we wish you all a great rest of the week, and we will see you next time. Take care, everybody.